Hello, Facebook lambs. Welcome to Jon Ferrian Live. Tonight, we've got another exciting episode for you, so come on in. Let us know where you're watching from. Let us know what you're doing this weekend, where you're riding. Did you take the weekend off like I did? Let me know. This is Saturday night, not our typical night, but we had some things going on in my life and in Coreen's life and in all of your lives. Sometimes we got to adjust the schedule slightly. So come on in, let us know where you're watching from and what you're doing. So while you're coming in, let me just tell you a little bit about Jon Ferrian Live and what Jon Ferrian Live is all about. Every Sunday night, typically, tonight is Saturday, but typically on Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific time, we come on in and we start talking about snowmobiling, anything snowmobiling, safety, education, growing the sport. We always highlight things like clubs, avalanche education, sometimes racing series. One of the things we're going to talk about tonight is Cains Quest. You may have not even heard of Cains Quest before, but before the end of the night, you're going to be an expert at Cains Quest. Right now, up in Alaska, the Iron Dog race is going on. Very similar race, but from what I hear, even cooler. We'll find out here shortly. All right, I got Bill watching. I got William Rutherford watching. Hey, guys. So anybody who's on and watching, let us know. Don't forget to share this out. And as usual, this week, again, we're back with the Share and Win contest. Why do we want to share and win? Well, the whole point of this show is to educate our friends that are out there riding so they can be smarter, safer, and live to ride another day. So when we're out here training and educating people, the way we're going to do that is by you, all of you, sharing this story, sharing this message. Share it to your personal page, share it to your club pages, share it to your, Sledders 2.0, Alaska 2.0, somewhere up in Canada, in the U.S., all over the world. Just share it, and you'll get in on some exciting prizes every week. This week, we're going to be giving away a set of Ruffian ODI snow grips. So those are some hand grips from Woody's Racing. It's one of their sponsors, ODI hand grips, and great prize. So let me kill the music here, and we'll get this teed up, and I'll bring Coreen on in just a second. So let me see here. We'll get this tuned up. So Coreen, here we go. 1, 2, and 3. How are you?
Hi.
How's it going?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Good. So for anybody who does not yet know Coreen, we'll have her do kind of a full intro here in a minute, but I want to let you guys know how I was introduced to Coreen. Rebecca Charles, Coreen's teammate for Team Virago for the Cains Quest race, was on back in around November, so 3-4 months ago. We had Rebecca on and talk a little bit about, from her point of view, living in Alaska, partnering with you over in New Brunswick, coming back to this race in Labrador. So it's going to be an exciting thing. So again, you and I have only been following each other since November, maybe a little bit before that, when we had Rebecca on. And so I'm excited to finally have the other half of Team Virago on the show, and we can talk a little bit more about the race, Cains Quest, and I'll turn it over to you to just introduce yourself a little bit. Let us all know a little bit about who Coreen Paul is and what's your background.
All right. Well, thank you for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. So Coreen Paul, that would be me. I'm actually originally from Labrador, where Cains Quest originated. I'm currently living in New Brunswick due to my career development. So I've been snowmobiling since I was a kid. It was a big part of our lives growing up. Snowmobiling was transportation. Snowmobiling was getting food, hunting, fishing, those great things that we did in the communities where it's much more isolated. So it was a big part of our lives. So snowmobiling in my life, and then this race Cains Quest came about. It was just let's take everything I learned over the years from being a child with my dad and my parents at the cabin and my uncles and put it to the test. So Cains Quest 2020 is actually going to be my second round at the race.
Nice.
I first competed in Cains Quest in 2012 with my husband. We competed against 4 other teams, finished in 12th place.
That's amazing.
So I'm pretty excited to be partnering with a female this time. So Rebecca and I are going to be hitting the race track on March the 7th.
That's awesome. So let's, you skimmed over a whole bunch of great things and gave us a great overview. And now what I want to do is kind of go back and kind of dive in and get them a few questions. So talk to us a little bit about your childhood memories growing up in the northern reaches of Canada and having snowmobiling as part of your day-to-day transportation. Give us some examples of, whether it be traveling to school or down the street or wherever it is to get back and forth. Down in the States, most of the time snowmobiling is more of strictly recreation. And I know when you get up to Alaska, northern Canada, snowmobiles become literally just a way of life and part of your transportation. So just give people some extra perspective on that, if you would.
Okay, personally, where I grew up in Northwest River, we had plowed roads, but obviously, being a young age, you weren't allowed to drive, so snowmobile is how you got around, to go to the store, to go to school. But our recreational time on snowmobile was going to the cabin every weekend, and this is not a cottage with electricity and all the amenities. This is truly cabin life. So that's what myself, with my family and all my friends, find ourselves on the weekends hanging out in the cabin, just as we would find ourselves on the weekend after school hanging out in town. So we did a lot of snowmobiling between cabins to visit each other, to go bird hunting, to go fishing. We did a lot of stuff on snow. So it wasn't, it was a lifestyle recreation, it was a sustenance. It wasn't just pure fun. It wasn't groomed trails and we're just going to go for evening rides. It's a big part of our lives. And for a lot of northern communities, whether in Labrador or northern Canada, there's no allowed go. So snowmobile is a big part of their everyday life when it comes to the winter months, when there's too much snow on the ground for their vehicles. So they rely on it for the everyday, get their groceries, check their mail, go to visit family, to go to church on Sunday, for wedding parades. It's just part of their life.
Yeah, that's amazing. And it's a very foreign concept for most of us who live down in the United States and literally have to trailer somewhere to go snowmobile. Like where I live, literally, I mean, it's middle of February and there's not a speck of snow on the ground anywhere around me. My grass is green, but I can get in the truck and drive an hour up the mountain, and in elevation, I can get up to the snow and go play around all weekend, come back home, put a little sun lotion on. No, not really, but it's kind of always cloudy and drizzly here in the Seattle area. But we can drive up and down, and it's a very different lifestyle, even from when I grew up in Minnesota, which is where I'm originally from, where you literally would open up your garage door and you could ride out. It's almost impossible to do that here in Washington for most people. So very different worlds.
Yeah.
Cool.
Completely different.
So we talked a little bit about the race with Rebecca and everything too, and I know over these last several months, you and Rebecca have been doing a ton of training, both where you're at, up in Alaska, and just kind of walk us through what's been going on since Rebecca's interview and how you guys have, just every part of it, kind of the background and the training and, getting ready for the race, whether it be getting the snowmobiles ready and all that stuff. So I'll turn it back over to you and you take it whatever direction you want. And if I put my hand up, that means I want to interrupt and ask you another question. So
it's like a teacher in the classroom. I put my hand up for the next.
But no, you go for it. It's all you.
So Rebecca actually came to New Brunswick in December, and it was the first time we actually met face to face. So Rebecca came to spend Christmas with me and my family, and we did about 600 miles of riding in northern New Brunswick. So a little bit similar to you in LA, where I live in New Brunswick. We don't get a whole lot of snow early in the season, but I can trailer a couple hours north and get a bit more snow and better riding. So we actually headed up north to a couple lodges and spent a couple weeks up there. So we did about 700 miles over Christmas, but before all of the riding, we had to do some renting. So we had parts and pieces that I had ordered, everything up in a garage, and just had to put the snowmobiles together. So the first few days of her visit was a lot of time building snowmobiles. So the sleds have been reinforced, braced up, stronger springs, stronger shocks. A lot of different things have gone into it to work out the weak points and put a lot of strength, because 3,100 kilometers of unknown conditions, a lot of beating, you need it. So we spent a lot of benching time in December, a lot of riding time in December. Then Rebecca came back again in January, and we did more benching time. We didn't have any riding time in, unfortunately, but there was a lot of sled done, which was really great. And then kind of change it up. It was nice to come here and visit my family, experience what I do here. And as a trade-off, I went to Alaska. So I headed to Alaska at the beginning of February and spent 10 days with Rebecca and her friends. And we did a lot of snowmobiling up there. I think we did about, I'm going to say 5 miles in Alaska, which is more comparable conditions to what we'll see in Labrador.
Oh, that's
if you've been following the Iron Dog, it's been nothing but snow for days.
Yeah.
And it's been quite exciting to see what they experience up there. So we did mountain riding, we did some backcountry breaking and things like that. So quite a few miles under our belts, which is it's a really big part of getting to know one another. So take two ladies from completely opposite ends of the continent, bring them together. It's important to see how you fit together, how you complement one another. So it's been a really interesting experience, and we already know we've made a friendship of a lifetime, and the race is not even over yet.
That's amazing. Yeah, and it's just crazy how, in the world we're in, having something, in common like snowmobiling, for example, of how you can be just instant friends with so many people. And in this situation, it has the potential to be extremely tense and stressful and all those things. And, if someone's ego gets in the way or vice versa, back and forth, it's like it could go bad quickly for a lot of reasons. And to hear that it's going so well for you guys is amazing. So
there's always that potential for stressful moments and your ego and you're right over this person, but that at least taking the time to spend more time together, time you can start to recognize those potential situations arise.
Yeah.
But we've learned that we complement each other very well in our strengths and our weaknesses, kind of fill the gap for one another. Rebecca is really strong with loading GPSs, with all the tracks and everything that we need. I'm strong in navigation. She's strong in wrenching. So we have some great dynamics going that have really been working together, and our riding style and things like that.
Yeah.
I can certainly say we both felt very comfortable after those 1,200 miles that we rode over the last few months to know one another.
Yeah. No, that's fantastic. And so was going up to Alaska was your first time to Alaska, I assume?
My first time to Alaska, it was quite breathtaking, and as all the photos we took, it doesn't do it justice.
Yeah, it's always amazing the mountain scenery that you get. You take a picture and you go home and you're like, man, I wish I could just share this experience with everybody. And then you give them a picture and it's like, no, it's that better, but like 10 times better, right?
Can't do it justice.
Exactly. Awesome. And so your time in Alaska, how long were you up there? Was it
10 days.
And when you were up there, like, how did you guys manage that with sleds? That's, my understanding both was the Iron Dog, when people are training stuff too, is you have race sleds and you have training sleds. Do you have like training sleds there and race sleds where you're at, or training sleds in both places? Talk us through the sled situation, what you're using, and then your training sled versus race sled situation and why the difference and what the needs are for both.
So we're actually racing the Skidoo Backcountry XRS 8E. We're running 146 with a 2 paddle. So I actually purchased a 2019 as my training sled to get used to it. Potentially it could have been my race sled depending on how the finances went.
Yeah.
So I trained that one last winter, and when Rebecca came down here, we had purchased our race sleds. So now we have Backcountry XRS in my garage. So we had our training sled, my training sled plus our 2 race sleds. Then I went to Alaska. Rebecca was after buying another backcountry in Alaska for her training sled. Plus she has her old Iron Dog Polaris. Yeah. So snowmobiles to ride.
Okay.
And I rented a sled while I was up there as well. So we actually, during my time there, I landed there Friday night, and she said, "Are you going to be good to go Saturday morning?" I said, "Yep, we're riding Saturday morning." We actually broke the Iron Dog Trail from landing right up Antilla.
It's amazing.
So it had been snowed in, so we broke that back out, and what we thought would be a pretty easy 140 was a little bit long.
Yeah. Well, it's something I want to highlight here because it's you skipped over it like it was no big deal, but I want to point out the time zone difference between Alaska and New Brunswick and the difference between there. So when you left, it's what, 5 hours? 5-hour difference between where you live and Rebecca. And so like, for anybody who travels, like I just traveled the other day down to Texas and back, and that was a 2-hour difference. And a 2-hour difference, you can kind of sort of almost pretend it doesn't exist, but if after a few days it catches up with you. But a 5-hour time difference is pretty significant. I mean, that's like, getting up at 6 in the morning and it's, 10, 11 o'clock later in the day for somebody else, right? And so for you to get up at 5 or 6 in the morning, probably her normal time, I mean, that's literally the middle of the night for you, the way your body is transformed into it, right? And so how did that go with the time zone differences? Did you just jump in head first, get exhausted riding, and then just went to bed and got on track, or what?
Not quite. So when you're going to have a 5-hour difference, and traveling sleeping on the plane to try to reset your body clock to try to adjust to that. So that's what I did is I did a lot of napping on the plane to help my body get ready for that adjustment. So I left New Brunswick at 5:30 in the morning.
Okay.
I landed in Alaska at 8:40 in the nighttime, which is actually like 2-something in the morning for me in New Brunswick.
Yeah.
But because I rested, body was already on that to the adjustment time change.
Yeah.
So when we got up Saturday morning, I was up earlier because my body said time to get up.
Yeah.
But we punched a full day of riding up to Puntillo, and went to bed at a decent hour, got up the next morning and did it all the ways back again. So my body was okay adjusting, and coming back was a little bit tougher. I'm still a little tired from the return, but it's fine.
Good. And then were you then on a rental sled in Alaska? Did I hear that right?
Most of the time I was running with Rebecca's sleds.
Okay.
Plus, we actually had one of our sponsors, Team CNC.
Okay.
They gave me a sled for a few days, and then I rented from another local dealer while I was up there. But most of the time we had Rebecca's sleds.
Yeah, I'm picturing, going to an Avis car rental center and asking for a rental car and then going out and just burning donuts and spinning the tires off the car and jumping it and all those things. Like, that's the way I imagine you're renting a snowmobile would be. It's like, okay, we're going to go rent the snowmobile and just have a little joyride with it, right? Wink, wink. And then you guys go out there and just beat trail on the Iron Dog for, 400 miles or 500 miles.
I'm riding it like a girl.
Exactly, right? Exactly. At 100 miles an hour, hitting moguls 3 feet high, right?
Like when you see that KG snowmobile for sale, lady driven.
Yeah, exactly.
You might want to do research on that lady.
Yeah. Or they've been in Cains Quest, Team Virago. Maybe you want to think it twice, right?
Could be.
That's awesome. All right, and so as far as the training sleds go, the XRSs are pretty beefy sleds from the beginning. But what specifically are you doing to modify them and reinforce them for the race?
So for the race, a lot of potential impact for, rough snow conditions and things like that. So where we've seen weak in the sleds in the past, the tunnel. So we've reinforced the tunnel, reinforced the drop brackets, for springs. We did some rail reinforcements just as a new stock part. So there's been a lot of just bracing for impact more than anything.
Okay. And then I'm assuming the race requires you to have just a stock motor, right? Performance-wise for a motor, are you required to be stock, or is there not necessarily any rules against the engine performance of a snowmobile for a race like that?
There's actually no rules about your engine performance or any upgrades to your engine. So it's not like the Iron where you have to run a 600. You can run whatever you want in Cains. But if you think about, we are required to carry mandatory gear for safety purposes.
Yeah.
So whether it's a shovel, a means of starting a fire, axe for cutting wood, or there's a lot of mandatory gear that we have to carry for safety. So that adds extra weight to the sled.
Yeah.
We're getting a lot of extra gas because we're going to remote locations without fuel stops.
Yeah.
So between having support crew bring us fuel, but we're also carrying a large amount of fuel to get us there. So we're adding a lot of weight to the sled beyond the body of the individual. So we have to get ready for the that it's going to get.
Yeah. And so really reliability, durability is more important than just having the fastest machine out there, obviously.
You don't win this race the first few days.
Yeah.
It's the type of conditions that you run into. A lot of times you'll see some bottlenecks of teams ending up, funneling together, working together. But, after day 3, day 4, teams kind of fan out and do their own thing and at their own pace and really aiming for that finish line on the last couple legs. So there's less support unless it's a big emergency situation.
Yeah.
But people tend to kind of do their own thing, and then it becomes more of a speed race.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm just going to throw this out there, and I know we didn't prep for this ahead of thing, but is there any chance you have like a little map of the Cains Quest race near you there that you could pop up for everybody to look at quick, or is that not something that you have handy?
What's the chances? I'm slightly prepared.
Yeah, so do it go ahead and hold it up over your face for just a minute or two there, right? And I'm actually going to, let's see if I can adjust this. I'm going to adjust it so that you get more of the screen of yourself there, and I went down the corner. You're a little too close. It's kind of fuzzy. If you back away a little bit, I think there we go. That's probably pretty good. So people can get a good idea of the race. So the gray area there is Labrador, right? Is the province of Labrador. And then the white lines are your route, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we've seen that. We have a visual now. So go ahead and pull that back down.
What's the chances I just had that laying around, right?
What's the chances, right?
That map is everywhere in my face every day.
Nice. I'm trying to get us back to where we are, though. So go ahead and talk us through the. Yeah, it's giving me a little bit of a pain here.
All right, you adjust and I'll talk.
Yeah, you talk about just the race. Talk about the terrain, the race, and what that, help us paint a visual picture for what you're experiencing in this race, from the starting line to different legs of the race, the type of terrain, like how remote it is. Like, give us a good vibe for who's living up there, if anybody near you that can support you if something goes wrong, or their chase vehicles. I mean, I think people have gotten a little more familiar with Iron Dog, but I would say most of this audience is still fairly new to these kind of races in general. There's a lot of people who know a lot about them, but there's others who this is going to be the first time they've ever even heard of Cains Quest. And so let's talk a little bit about the race, the territory, and what really, the miles. Like, just describe the race for us a little bit.
So the race is 3,100 kilometers, nearly 2,000 miles. We have 18 checkpoints, and we have to hit those checkpoints in a specific order. Okay. But there's not a specific set route.
Okay.
There's no groomed trails. It's make your own trails. It's backcountry riding, and you just have to get to those checkpoints in that order. We have mandatory rest stops through the race. So again, from a safety perspective, you want to make sure that you're giving the racers a reasonable amount of downtime to recover and prepare for the next portion. So on average, between 5 to 6 days it takes to do this race. So picture 500 kilometers a day, 5 to 600 depending. The first portion of the race, the first couple of days, is between very well populated, established communities, our more larger communities of the province. Moving to the second day, we're hitting the south coast of the province, which is a lot of small communities. Between one and day two, we can get a lot of roadside assistance, we'll see. The highway's not far from the trail, that if we had to run out to the road or apart or have a part, that's pretty easy. Moving into, we work our way back up towards the north coast into day 3, day 4. When we get to the north coast of Labrador, there's no roads. Okay. It's fly in, snowmobile, or boat to get to these communities. These communities are all snowmobilers. So in the case of a part, for example, if I break something, you can pretty much, yell at the crowd that's standing by and say, hey, I need an A-arm. Probably going to get it quickly because somebody's going to remove it from their sled and donate it, because they love to be involved in the race. Yeah. They like to be a part of it.
Amazing.
So we're doing a lot of river running, bogs, some mountainous terrain, not extremely crazy mountainous terrain, but a very, a lot of water obstacles. Getting into day 4, we're about to head into the inland of Labrador. Remote, no established communities, no gas stations. There's nothing there for you. And you need a part, yes, somebody's got to bring it. So it could be a long wait. Getting into a bit higher backcountry, mountainous terrain, a lot of deep snow potentially. There's a lot of barren land, so a lot of rocky obstacle exposures. But still, you're using a lot of rivers, okay, which river running can be difficult because fast rivers don't necessarily freeze well. We're not experiencing a lot of snow in Labrador this year, so the rivers are not filling in to provide that bridge effect of giving you something to travel over. So it's going to be interesting this year. We're experiencing different weather conditions. Yeah. So there's a mix of narrow trails, water, river running, and even open running. So there's a lot to experience through this. It's different from Iron Dog. They have a set trail, yeah, and a lot of times somebody's making a trail of them. But in this case, we're not permitted to have people break the trail ahead of us. If you're team number 5, the trail is broke. So. Yeah.
And then these routes, like, I mean, obviously we're only, 14 days you said or something like that from the race. We're getting close to the race. Have you been up to Labrador to ride any of the routes this season yet, or are you just going from your experience previous seasons? So.
Going on previous experience, just, some teams, people who are local still live in Labrador have the ability to pre-run some of the route and, pick a new trail, open up some new trail. I didn't have the advantage this year, just given time and money and things like that. Yeah. But I've been through a large portion of that race. Yeah. The last few races, it hasn't changed a whole lot. So that's an advantage point there for many previous racers. So I have GPS routes, and I'm just going to follow what I know.
Yeah. So let's talk about the race that you ran previously in 2012. So I know, but I don't know if everybody else knows. Who was your teammate in 2012?
In 2012, I raced with my husband, Jason.
Awesome.
So he had previously run in 2009 with a coworker of him. And then we ran support for our team in 2011. It was something from the birth of this race, it was something I wanted to do since 2006. And after him some experience in the race and us working with another team in 2011, it really kind of gave us the opportunity, and we met enough people and wrapped up enough resources that we were able to race together in 2012, which it was a great experience. 5 days, almost 6 days of riding. Our first day, 19 hours of riding until we got to a bed.
Wow.
The last day was 22 hours of riding. So it's quite intense. It's very demanding on the body. It's very demanding on the mind. And it's very demanding on the sled as well.
I bet, yeah. And then in 2012, did you and your husband finish the race? We were able to finish the race, both of you?
Yeah. So you have to finish as a team. You one or the other. You finish as a team. So in 2012, we had 35 teams participate. Yep. Less than 50% finished the race, and we finished in 12.
That's amazing. So that's awesome. So you have the experience under your belt of running and finishing the race, and you've also then over the last, I don't know, how many years in between there, but you've had multiple opportunities to be a support person for other race teams. Is that accurate as well? Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yep. So we raced in 2012, and it's been years since I raced, but Jason raced again in 2016, but we've been helping another team since 2014. So 2014, 16, and 2018, we've been highly involved in the race. Okay. So a lot of when you're not racing, you sleep less than the racers. You're on gathering parts and tools and prepping for when they're back on the clock.
Right.
So you don't sleep as much. So we've definitely gained a lot of knowledge from, working with the racers to see how are they building their sleds, what weak points are they finding and rebuilding and things like this. So we've gained a lot of knowledge. So from an advantage point, yes, I've raced. Mm-hmm. I've worked with a lot of different other race teams to understand how they maintain and build their snowmobiles. A lot of navigation experience through work, through personal experience. So we got some great advantages into this race.
That's awesome. And, in the history of the race, you said it started in 2006. I don't know if you know an exact number, but I would imagine it's a small number. How many women have even participated in racing this race over those years?
You're looking at her.
You the one?
I'm the one and only female.
That's amazing, right? And so that just gives me like goosebumps thinking about it. It's like, such a pioneer in what you're doing and being part of this race. I mean, I've interviewed Rebecca, I've interviewed folks, David Wagner going into the Iron Dog race. These races are incredible and intense and just amazing races. And, they're just demanding on any human being at all. And for you to be the pioneer, the first woman and the only woman who've raced it so far, and here we are now on the threshold of Team Virago, my understanding being the first all-female team ever, right?
One of two first all-female teams. So there's a second female team coming from Finland.
Awesome. That's amazing.
So we've had a male team from Finland for the last races. This year they're bringing a female team from Finland, which is quite exciting as well.
Awesome. And so there's two female teams this year. Both years, this is the first year of female teams being part of it, right? That's exciting, right? So it just shows you how far the sport has come, and the machines, how they've come, and how ladies like yourself are just getting after it and saying like, there's no barriers anymore in this world. We're just going to do whatever it is that makes us happy and push, just as hard as anybody else out there. So that's amazing.
And I might be one of the brave ones to do it, I'll say, but there's highly capable ladies out. I spoke about the way we grew up in Labrador and how we were raised, and snowmobiling was part of our life, and for the hunting and gathering. There's many women out there that experience that growing up and definitely have the strength and knowledge and capability to participate in something like this. But maybe it's not the thing, they're not the challenge, or maybe they're rather a smaller version of this, because it's a very expensive race. It's very demanding. I mean, our family, our kids, I remember in 2012, I never had my kids for 3 months because I lived in the garage.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of experiencing now a lot more time in the garage and less time with the kids, but I've learned from that to make sure I still make time for my kids so that they don't feel left out. So we're involving the kids more now, helping in the garage and prepping snowmobiles.
Yep, that's awesome.
But I think women are highly capable of being part of such a race, but I think maybe the opportunity could be there to develop a female version of this race.
That's awesome. That's amazing. And so talk a little bit about how you were introduced and how you interacted and how you ultimately came to be a teammate with Rebecca. Like, how did the team come together?
I definitely wanted to experience the challenge for the race in a different way, which was bring an all-female team to the roster. And when I supported Team in 2018, when that race was over, I said, guys, in 2020, I'm going to race this race. I just need to find a female. I'm not going to race again until I find a female who wants to do it. Rob Gardner of Maine, I give him a lot of credit for this one. Basically, he went back to Maine, got on Facebook, and sent a message and said, Paul and Rebecca Charles, you need to talk. So Rob experienced Iron because he had traveled to Alaska for the Iron. Rebecca is a large part of the Iron Dog race up there. She does a lot of the interviewing, the social media, and things like that. So Rob met her, and he said to me, Coreen, she's got mechanical skills, she's got riding skills. You definitely need to have a chat with her. So I literally messaged her and said, hey, would you be interested in having a conversation about this? So she said, yeah, give me a call. I called her up. She said, give me a couple days, I'll get back to you.
Nice.
And she called me back and said, I'm in.
Yeah, no, that's right. That's awesome. And so since you guys have been introduced and now have been training, as you've mentioned a few times, I mean, it's the financial burden to participate in these races is large. And I know you guys have been doing a lot of fundraising and different things to be able to make this happen. Can you walk us through a little bit about, what you've been doing from a fundraising standpoint and some of the cool, unique things you guys have been able to do to raise funds for this race?
Yeah, so fundraising, we were actually quite fortunate for the sponsors that came on board. Friends of Rebecca's, friends of mine, previous businesses that sponsored me in 2012, previous businesses that sponsored her. So we were quite fortunate to round a lot of sponsors, but we have been putting efforts into as well. So we did an online auction of items that were donated by friends and family. I'm currently selling tickets on a gift basket. Rebecca's currently selling tickets on our gift basket. So things like that, more locally based, but the auction was a little bit more broad, and we got sales across Canada and even into the States, which was amazing. So it definitely helped with some of the final costs of the that we have coming up with, the travel, the fuel, the hotel, oil, all those things.
Nice. And so I think we've talked through a lot of the things we had planned on talking about. I know, a lot of the sponsors and supporters that you have. I know it's always hard in a situation like you guys where I put you on the spot and say, hey, talk a little bit about the people who are supporting you. You're always going to miss somebody. So I know it's always a little bit of a hot topic of like, I want to do it, but I don't miss anybody, right? So I'm going to give you the opportunity to kind of share anybody you want to thank and sponsors and that kind of thing that have helped you kind of get to where you're at. But knowing up front that I'll apologize for you in case you miss somebody. So.
Oh, there's always going to be that opportunity where we miss somebody, but we've been doing a great job of promoting sponsors through social media and making sure that they get a lot of coverage that they deserve for all the help that they gave to us. And yeah, for me to kind of highlight them all is going to be difficult, and I'm going to make my best stab at it that you can imagine.
Yep.
And I do apologize in advance, but I think I have them all. So some of them are from US and some of them are from Canada. So some may recognize the names and some may not. So EME Engineering, Dennis Eldorf, Snow and Sand Adventure. So Dennis is actually going to be traveling to Labrador as part of our support crew, which is great. So he's a friend of Rebecca's from the Iron Dog in Alaska.
Okay.
GT Season, which is one of our Skidoo dealership sponsors. Team CNC is our new dealership sponsor out of Alaska. We have Nitro Trailers, Chad Dow, an experienced Quest rider, as well as Iron Racer as well. Pioneer Peak Orthopedics, Grip and Racing. Always like to promote their products. They have such amazing products and are decked out and ready with racing from those guys. Valley Imaging, Belmac out of Quebec, Curve Industries. Climb has been a big supporter of our clothing. GLKC, Rigid Industries, Rex Snowmobile Clubs, who are our local snowmobile club here where I live. Imperial Manufacturing, Jubbers Convenience back in Labrador. We also have Iron City Services back in Labrador. Arian, Jace Lemieux, Dennis Coots, another great support Cains Quest and Iron Dog. Kinnick Construction, Tell Camp Farms, DHS Grain, Jaws Performance, Office Work, Project 907, Bruce Kale, a snowmobiler, the Dandy Dollar Store, Rugged Radios, Lead Dog Helmets. And I'm not sure if I missed anybody. I think there's a few more come on board, which is as well. But I think I hit everybody. If I didn't, I sincerely apologize. But keep an eye on our Facebook and our trailer is a walking billboard.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. And so what about the name Team Virago? Give us the background on the name specifically of the team this year.
So obviously a team name that's really hit the spot with who we are. So literally, God loves Google. Hit it in Google. How can I find a strong word? I came up with Virago, one of the 25 words that I found, and it actually means female with masculine spirit and strength. So a female warrior. So I thought it was fitting for Rebecca and I.
Awesome. Sounds perfect to me. So what else have we not talked about that you want to touch on before we let these folks get back to their evening?
I just want to say thank you to all of our fans that have been following us on Facebook, and I'm kind of starting to run low on battery here, so I'm going to plug in. So forgive me if I'm not so centered in my screen for a moment. Okay. So yeah, our supporters we've been working with, our support team is giving up their family time to travel to Labrador with us and support us through the whole process. This race, it's an amazing experience. For me, I think of snowmobiling as kind of, it's therapy, it's mental therapy. Yep. So I really look forward to getting out on the sled and turning everything else off. So I'm looking forward to this challenge because I really appreciate personal challenges for myself. And I'm excited about the new friendship I made with Rebecca. I'm excited to bring her to Labrador for her to experience it. But I want to thank you to everybody for helping me and Rebecca get together and be part of this race.
Awesome. And remind folks where they can either follow the race, follow the team, if you have Facebook or Instagram pages, or if there's a website they should be tracking everything. So let's give them an update on that. Oh, sounds like we're having a little technical day. So, a second if she's back. If not, we're almost wrapped up anyway. So Coreen, let me know if you can hear me. If not, you know what we're going to do, folks? I think we're almost all wrapped up anyway. So I'm going to call it a show. So I appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. We'll go in the comments here after the show, and we'll make sure we drop in any websites, Facebook pages, and otherwise. And feel free to cheer on Team Virago. God bless everybody. Don't forget to live large. Have a great night. Talk to you later.